Chassidus and Chizzuk on Parsha's Hazinu with a special focus on Sukkos, mostly just because I didn't understand anything in the Parsha. So I was just like, I'm just going to give up, just go to Sukkos. I was fun about Sukkos, no more confusing Sukkim. Even though, in essence, to really understand Sukkos, you have to understand the Parsha, but that's neither here nor there. We started with a beautiful story from the Baal Shem Tov. It's a beautiful story. Do you read it inside or not? Let's read it inside, and we're going to come back to this later. It says like this: Rabbeinu Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh, Zechuto Yagen Aleinu. Baal Shem Tov, Be'et Shataka Ohalo Shel Torah Bepet Mezhebush, when he planted his tent of Torah in the mouth of Mezhebush, where he was living. There's a lot of Rabbanim in Mezhebush who were misnagdim, who were against the whole concept of what the Baal Shem Tov was trying to do. And they went on the Chag of Sukkos to the Baal Shem Tov. That according to the Torah, according to the halacha, the sukkah of the Baal Shem Tov isn't kosher. The Baal Shem Tov zal hitvakeach imahem asher sukkato hu kosher. The Baal Shem Tov was arguing back and forth. It's kosher, it's not kosher, it's not kosher. X, Y, Z. They kept going back and forth all the different dinim and halachas of Nia Sukkah, whether it was kosher or not. V'niach rosho al yado al ezer regaim. At a certain point in the argument, the Baal Shem Tov was tired of arguing. He didn't have any more koach anymore. And he rested his head on the table for a few minutes. And afterwards, patach et yado, he opened up his head. He opened his hands, lifted up his head. He saw on the table there's a piece of cloth, there's a piece of paper there with a note, a post-it note sitting on the table. There was a note saying from these different Rabbanim, saying that the sukkah of the Baal Shem Tov was kosher. Now, the question that we need to ask ourselves is, what the heck happened with the Baal Shem Tov that he put his head on the table for a few seconds, and when he woke up, none of the rabbis, all the misnagdim, they all left, and they left a note saying, "Oh, the Baal Shem Tov's sukkah is kosher."
Well, the question I would have, of course, is like, why was Baal Shem Tov's sukkah even being valid?
Because the misnagdim. That's what the misnagdim did. The misnagdim saw the Baal Shem Tov. They were against everything he was doing, so they came and they started making machokas on the Baal Shem Tov's sukkah. That's not a question. That's history. The question is, what was the avodah of the Baal Shem Tov at that moment that he put his head on the table, and all of a sudden the Rabbanim were like, "Oh, kosher, kosher," and they ran away before he even put his head up. But the story gets even crazier. V'pitka hazot nishar b'Yerusha etzel nechad Baal Shem Tov zal, hu harav hakadosh mesidulkav, Baal Degel Machan Ephraim. Right, we learned Degel Machan Ephraim in the Chabur a lot. This petek was saved. The Baal Shem Tov saved this petek, and it ended up being his grandson, the Baal Shem Tov's grandson, the Baal Degel Machan Ephraim. He inherited as part of his inheritance. One time a sick person came to the Degel Machan Ephraim, and they went to the Degel Machan Ephraim. He said, "Take this petek, take this note that my grandfather received on Leil Sukkos, saying that his sukkah was kosher. Take this petek, put it under the head of the sick person, and he'll be better." Immediately after they put the petek under the sick person's head, he was healed. It was like this for 2 years. For 2 years, anytime a sick person would be sick in Sidulkov, in the place that the Degel Machan Ephraim was living, they put this petek under the head of the sick person, and the sick person get better. Be plain. In those 2 years, not a single person was lost to sickness in that city, because they had the school of this petek. At one time, someone came for the petek to heal the sick person, and the petek was lost. The Degel Machan Ephraim said that once this petek was lost, it was revealed to him from Shemayim that this isn't a good thing, because of the children that were going to be dying. Therefore he davened that the petek should be taken from the world. Not that he should find it, but it should just leave, because no one's going to know how to use it properly. And we have Eidos from the grandson of the Degam. This petek was passed around. This isn't Stam above mice. So the question you have to ask yourself is two questions really. It's a very long mice. It's going over many years. What was the Baal Shem Tov doing in the sukkah when he put his head down that all the tzaddikim ran away? And what was the koach this petek had that it was able to heal people? Again, this isn't above mice. This isn't something that some guy running around with some guy running around with a thing in the Middle Ages was telling over the campfire. This is an emistic mice. This is brought down in the Sefer of the Baal Shem Tov. So what exactly happened with this petek that was able to heal people? We'll get back to this. This is a secret of the Sukkah. We're now going to learn a fascinating piece from Rav Meir Kahane, Hashem Yimkom Damo, on the Indian of Bitachon and Sukkos. So he said we're going to run through the Hebrew very quickly. It sounds like Hanavi Amos says in Amos, on that day I will establish and I will raise the sukkah of the fallen sukkah of David. David Melech also used the same lashon of sukkah with the same reference. That it's known in the provinces of Yehuda that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and amongst Am Yisrael his name has grown big. And the sukkah, his palace, it's over here using it in the statement of a palace, that a sukkah, that there's peace in his palace. There's a question that comes from this. But Amos in Amos, we're talking about the final and pure geula. When people are going to see the kavod Hashem, they're going to fear him, they're going to see his greatness, and his strength, and his strength and his might, his eternal might. The Targum Yonasan explains in the pasuk in Amos, Sukkos David Hanafat Malchuta the base David. He said the word Sukkat David Hanafat, the word Sukkah over there really means Malchus. Rashi says over there in that same pasuk Malchus David Shnafla. Right? Rashi says the exact same thing. He says Sukkah is lashon Malchus. And it goes to the long measure explaining what this means. Why Dafka by noted that the pasuk Nodi Yehuda is talking about the greatness of the Sukkah is referring to the greatness of the HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'm going to skip that over right now. If these psukim are talking about the godless and the gevura, the greatness and the strength and the might of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, how come the pasuk, when it was referring to the malchus of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the malchus of his David, why do they refer to them as sukkah? A sukkah is a weak and non-permanent structure, mashal chusha, and it's compared to weakness, the choser kvius, and lack of permanence. Like it says in the Navi Nishayo, Artzachem shamema, your lands are empty, admatchem l'negdachem zarim ochlim ota, and your land in front of your eyes, foreigners will be eating from it. V'notra bat Zion kisuka v'kerem, and the daughters of Zion were left like some weak tent in the vineyard. Right, the pasuk in Yeshayahu is telling us the word sukkah is referring to some weak structure. So Rav Kahane asks, he says, I'm going to raise up the Armona of David. It's going to be in the fortress. There's going to be peace in the fortress of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in his chamber. Something similar to it, something that has majesty to it. Something that's compared to something that's strength. But the word sukkah we know from, you learned any Masechah Sukkah, right? You guys learned it last year. Masechah Sukkah, it's talking about the holiness of sukkah being weak and arai and non-permanent. It has to be this. There's so many dinim of the Indian of sukkah. It has to be weak. But clearly we see from the psukim that we keep on using the word sukkah to describe the greatness of the Malchus Beis David and the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and his strength. So it seems to be there's a steer going on. If we're supposed to go to a sukkah that's chalash, that's weak and arai, non-permanent, so call it a sukkah. But if you're going to call the Malchus Beis David a sukkah also, there's a steer in understanding what the word sukkah means. Seemingly. So Kahane continues. Kamoke, Kasha Mashid Mikpalel David. The David Hashem ordered, like we've been saying for the last month, Ki Yispineni B'Sukkot B'Yom Ra. And I'm going to run and I'm looking towards the sukkah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu on the Yom Ra, on a bad day, Upira Shaiv and Ezra, Hi Yerushalayim Kmo V'Hi B'Shalom Sukkot. Right, that's a reference to Yerushalayim, which is V'Hi B'Shalom Sukkot. Because in Yerushalayim, it's a peaceful place it's a peaceful fortress. And Rashi says that I'm going to look forward, I'm going to run to there for my hope to the Beis Hamikdash. Shuv, again, we see from another place. Madu akina David Yerushalayim bet Beit HaMikdash shehem semel ozo v'orto shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why did David HaMelech say that Yerushalayim, the Beit HaMikdash, which is the ultimate symbol for the greatness and glory of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, b'shem Sukkah? HaKadosh Baruch Hu's glory and greatness is non-permanent. It's weak. No, the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is nitzchi, it's eternal. And it's the strongest thing that we could ever possibly even contemplate. That's why we're calling it a Sukkah. Every single night, not just on David Hashem, but every single night we should be asking ourselves this question: Ufros aleinu sukas shlomecha. Lama lanu levakesh sukkah. How come we're asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu for a sukkah? It's a crazy thing. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, give me a non-permanent structure to live in. Davar chalash v'aray v'cholev. Something it's weak and non-permanent. It's constantly switching its status. V'lo davar shemisamel k'vurat Hashem k'gon ma'oz. Why not something that's showing off HaKadosh Baruch Hu's greatness? Migdal, Armon, Mivtzar, his tower, his palace, his fortress. So Meir Kahane answers in the most beautiful, beautiful way. This is a very, very deep secret. It's a fundamental secret. It's a fundamental concept in understanding Pshat and Sukkos. Hatshuva hi she'atorah v'chazal ratu lamdeinu kan klal gadol v'yisodi b'emunah b'tachon. The Torah and Chazal want to teach us a very basic concept in emun and b'tachon. Haloshon sukkah. We know that the word sukkah comes from the word schach, meaning what? Lahagein ulechasot, to protect and to cover. Schach, from Lashon kisui v'shinoi seder hotiyot. Schach sounds like the word kisui, to cover. Kisui rosh, a head covering. Like it says in the pasuk in the Ebrato Yasachlach, Sukutol rosh b'yom neshek. You protected my head on the day of battle. V'chein v'mishkan v'sukot al haron at the parochet, and you're going to cover the aron with the parochas. ובכן דווקא מהמילה סכך שכוונתה הגנה וכוח להגן ולכסות מפני סכנת האויב בא המילה סוכה. דווקא from the word סכך, which kavana is to protect and is the strength of protecting and to cover and protect from all our enemies. From that understanding comes the word sukkah. Halacha hara'it. So you're saying yes, right. The pshat in the word sukkah means weak, alright, but it's based on a concept of strength. What does that mean? This is what the kavanah is. They're going to come with their chariots and with their horses, but us, we're going to come in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we're going to come in front of them and we're going to just think of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name. We're going to rely on HaKadosh Baruch Hu and that's how we're going to live. And David HaMelech also said somewhere else in Tehillim, a king isn't saved by many warriors, and a warrior isn't going to be saved by all of his strength in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Nothing can stand in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When we're standing in front of our enemies and the nations that are many and great, there's nothing to be afraid of if we just have bitachon Hashem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is our protection. Mishum kach, because of this, dafka hasukah hachalasha v'hara'u al-dechora. Nikva kisema ha'oz v'adbrosh HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Dafka, the sukkah, which is weak and shaky and has zero permanence in this world. Dafka, in that place, do we find the ultimate place of bitachon HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Dafka, in that place. Let's skip this next paragraph. Jump down. V'lechein kava HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yisrael Chag HaSukkot. And therefore HaKadosh Baruch Hu called the Chag of Sukkot. V'tzivam, and he commanded them, it says in the Psukim, v'Sukkot teshvu shivat yamim, kol ezrach v'Yisrael yeshvu v'Sukkot, l'man yidu dorotechem, ki v'Sukkot toshavti et bnei Yisrael b'hotzi otam mi'eretz Yisrael, ani Hashem Elokechem. In the Sukkot, you're going to sit for 7 days. Every single citizen of Am Yisrael, they're going to sit in the Sukkah. L'man yidu dorotechem, in order that for all the generations they will know that in the Sukkah HaKadosh Baruch Hu sat us and made us dwell when he took us out of Mitzrayim. Ani Hashem Elokechem, I am HaKadosh Baruch Hu, your God. Kol chag hazeh hu semel shel emunah bitachon shalem b'Hashem. The whole purpose of Sukkos is a semblance, a sign, and a teaching of how to have emunah bitachon HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hasukki hasemach ha'mamashi v'muchashi l'moftim ha'gdolim shelemala shelmaisim mitzamtzimim l'mofet ha'achel ha'kolel schichat HaKadosh Baruch Hu ch'neto al Yisrael 40 shana v'var mul ha'ivim v'mul sakanat hatzia v'ashmema. The Sukkah is a sign that HaKadosh Baruch Hu protected us against. We were in the desert. There's nothing that can protect us there. It's one of the weakest places we could possibly be in. We go to the sukkah, we leave our homes, we leave these giant, beautiful mansions that we live in, we leave these beautiful apartments that we have, and we go sit on the Rebessa, we go sit on our porch, we go sit in our backyard in this wooden hut, covered by a cloth, covered by a sheet. Sometimes it's just covered by this literally 3 strings wrapped around with a certain measurement levud, and that's a wall. And that's going to protect me. That's my sukkah. That's Haganah. Yes. Because if I believe that in a world where nature exists, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu is beyond that nature, then I'm protected no matter what I do. So Dafka now, especially just I just watched the video from Netanyahu in the UN. And the one thing that's missing, Mama, she spoke the most beautiful speech ever. One thing's missing. One, he didn't mention the Lubavitcher Rebbe like he did last time. And 2, he didn't mention HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shkayach, Am Yisrael, Eretz Yisrael, you're talking all the right points, but you're missing that one point. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm sure he meant it. I'm sure he just forgot to say it. But that's the whole point. None of this makes any sense. There's no logical sense. The essence of Malchus Beis David, and the essence of the Beis Hamikdash, and the essence of the Kiyum of Am Yisrael, the existence of Am Yisrael, is that of a sukkah. It's arai. When does it become not arai? When does it become strong? When does it become full of koach? When we put a moon on a HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's our teaching on Eretz Yisrael for the week also. And Eretz Yisrael only exists. Eretz Yisrael and Sukkah are the only 2 mitzvahs you can kind with your whole body. There's no other mitzvah in the whole Torah that you can kind with your whole body except for what Yishuv Eretz Yisrael and Sukkah. Nothing else. And mikveh if you hold it to mitzvah. Right. 2 things. Eretz Yisrael, Sukkah. They're the same thing. Because just like you're going to a sukkah and you're saying HaKadosh Baruch Hu can protect me, that makes no sense that HaKadosh Baruch Hu can protect you. In a sukkah, that's the most. Go back to your home. Be a smart person. No. Go out of nature. Go beyond nature for 1 second. Believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Have bitachon and emunah. Sit in your sukkah. That is what Chazal were telling us in sukkah. We're going to come back to this. This piece, this concept, is fundamental in understanding what the Baal Shem Tov was doing in that sukkah. And go back to the story again. Don't forget. Okay. Next piece we're going to learn. Telling you, this is one of the most mind-boggling pieces of Torah I've ever learned in my entire life on Sukkos and Simchas Beis Shalewa. HaShiloach. It's brought down from Tiferes Yosef. Telling you this is the most. Oh, give me that esrog. I have to hold the esrog. Quickly! I need the esrog. Oh! Shulam! Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Anatein Reach Tov Leperos. Whispers of Sukkot. Okay. You know there's a famous Mishnah in Masechah Sukkah where it describes the Simchas Beis Shalewa in the Beis Hamikdash. So over here in the source from the HaShiloach, we're going to a couple pieces before we get to the main point he was talking. Misha lo ra'a Simchas Beis Shalewa, lo ra'a Simcha b'yamav. Someone who never saw the Simchas Beis Shalewa in the Beis Hamikdash never saw true Simcha. It goes on to explain the chanas they do in the Azara in the Beis Hamikdash. The different things they'd set up. They'd set up beautiful mechitzas. They'd have benches made with gold. They'd have all these beautiful different things they'd be setting up. And one of the main things they would do was they have these beautiful torches and lamps that they would set up all over the Beis Hamikdash. Like the Mishnah continues and it says, there wasn't a single chatzar in Yerushalayim, in all of Yerushalayim, in the beautiful sprawling Yerushalayim, there wasn't a single chatzar, a single courtyard, a single house, a single room that wasn't lit up from the lights of the Simchas Beis Shalewa. Right, it's impossible that it's coming from just torches. You go to Meir on Lag BaOmer, and there's no way that you have a billion of those, the whole people will all get burned up. We're talking about a much deeper light. Maybe it's pshat and light. I don't know. But I think over here we're talking about a much deeper light. And then it continues. It says the Chasidim va'anshe Maisa, the pious peoples, and the tzaddikim, they would go in front of the Levim when the Levim were singing, and they'd go and sing shira in front of the Levim. So the Gemara continues. Brought the Gemara. Where's the Gemara? Look at the Gemara in Nun Gimel and Aleph, Masechah Sukkah, and he goes on to explain what the Anshe Ma'is and the Chassidim were saying in praise in front of the Levim. Now again, this is a classic piece of Moshe. If you're ever reading a sefer and you get to a source, even if you're sure of what the whole Gemara says, go look at it again because it's going to continue and it lights up your eyes in the most beautiful ways. So this is the Gemara says. The 2 dots at the top. Tanu Rabbanan, rabbis taught us, Yesh mehen omrin ashrei yaldutenu shelo bisha etzkenotenu. We should be praised those whose years of youth, whose childhood years aren't embarrassing that same person in their elderly years. Who would say that? That's the Chasidim and Anshe Maisa. The praise they were saying of Kadosh Baruch Hu is that Kadosh Baruch Hu, thank you so much that you allowed me to live a childhood, that now that I'm in my old age, I'm not embarrassed by what I did in the past. That's one praise of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The other praise that was said in front of the Leviim and the Beis Hamikdash and the Simchas Beis Shoeva, the Yesh Mehen Omrim, and there are those who said, Ashrei Zkenutenu, our elderly age should be praised, Shekafra et Yadutenu, that our elderly age was able to bring a kapara for our younger years when we were younger. And who would say this? What kind of, first, we have to ask ourselves questions. What are these praises in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu? But forgetting that explanation, now who would say this type of thing? Elu Bali Tshuva. This is the Bali Tshuva. They would come in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and tell HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? It makes sense the Bali Tshuva would say this. When I was younger, I wasn't necessarily going the right path. I wasn't necessarily doing the right things. But now that I'm older, I'm in front of the Leviim, and I've come to ripe old age, and I have children, grandchildren. I've learned so much Torah, and I can say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, thank you so much that my old age was able to be a chaper on the things I did as a youth. Mishalochet, someone who didn't do a sin. Umishachet yashu v'yimcholo. Elu ve'elu omrim. No matter who you are, though, whether you're Anshe Ma'aser or Chassid or Baal Tshuva, everyone would say this in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ashrei mishelo chata, umishachata yashu v'yimcholo. Praise be those who never sin, and those who sin, yashu, you should come back, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will forgive your sins. What is going on here? What's this talking about? So HaShiloach says the most beautiful explanation. Most beautiful explanation. In literally one sentence, he explains this whole thing. Shemizeh haloshon mashma, from this language of the Gemara. You with us? Good. It's Mom's life changing. Shemizeh haloshon mashma. From this language of the Gemara, we can make an inference. We can imply Shemikodem haya nira lehem lefamim shechaser etzlam or, that there were certain times in our lives that we think that we're lacking the or Eloki, that we're lacking in the deep, godly light that should fill our lives. Umeha'arat Beit HaShoeva, when they would go to the Beit Simchat Beit HaShoeva, they'd be dancing in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and they'd be singing, and they'd come to this level of his orus. Nitvadalahem, it became clear to them, L'ma'afreya, retroactively, Asheme Olam Lo Hayu Misholale, or that not once in their entire lives were they ever lacking in anything. You realize that when you come to that place of the Beis Hamikdash, and you come to that place where the whole Am is coming together, and the whole Am is there, you realize I was never missing anything. My entire time I had that whole thing. I just wasn't at a place where I recognized it. It's not that I don't have the proper kelim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us the kelim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu puts us in the proper places for us to be able to understand what's going on, for us to reach the levels that we're supposed to be reaching. But there's some things that sometimes I just don't chap it. Sometimes I just don't realize that. And so I come to the Beis Hamikdash, and I'm so sad, and I have to come for Chizzuk, and I have to go to the Kumditz, I have to go to Tish, and I have to go to the Fabrengen, I have to go to Hisvaris, and I have to go all these different things to get myself up to that place where I feel like I'm strong again. And once I get to that place, what's my initial reaction? Oh my gosh, I'm such a friar. Always I had that aura. Right. So yeah, tell you. But it's a good Marsa. Very good Marsa. So let's read that back in the Gemara, just for 1 second. So we say like this. Praiseworthy are us that our childhood never didn't embarrass us in our old age. Meaning what? For these tzaddikim, of course, a tzaddik who never had to do tshuva, someone who never did a chait. So yeah, their young age never had. They're just the same. Thank God that we never did anything embarrassing. That's all I'm saying. But the Meir HaShiloach is talking about us. He's talking to us, Bali Tshuva, because none of us are on the madriga anymore. Probably everyone else but me is. But so I'm talking to myself right now, really. Bali Tshuva, someone who is a Bal Tshuva, someone who comes after Yom Kippur Dafka to the Simchas Beis Shoeva. He says, Ashrei, I should be praised that in my young age I did so many sins, but now that I'm older, all those things I did retroactively, I realized it was all light. I come to the place of Beis Hamikdash, I come to the days after Sukkot, after Yom Kippur, I come into Sukkot, and the only thing that I can realize is, I've always had this. And the concept of Shuvah, which we've been speaking about for the last 42 days of going back to your initial source. This is what this mission is talking about. The Baal Tshuva realizes after Yom Kippur that I was always there, that I never even left. It's about that in Edition-Yonah, that when a person sins, it's not that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gets distance from us and we're staying at point zero. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is always at point zero, and we just feel like we're a little bit distant, but we're always there. The concept of tshuva is just realizing that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in front of us. So now this whole concept, I'm mamish marach today, very long, so I have to explain the concept of tshuva, of the Baal Shem Tov really quickly. I don't mean that for anyone. So Baal Shem Tov goes to his sukkah. Baal Shem Tov goes to his sukkah and he lays his head down. What's he doing? What's the story? Okay, on a pshat level, I can't understand it. I can't understand what was going on in the Baal Shem Tov sukkah. But on a deeper level, derech mashal, the misnagim come, all the kochos that are coming against us always, they come into our sukkah. Motzi Yom Kippur, I did all the biggest tshuva I did. I had the mamash, the craziest HaRa'Ayon. I'm singing, I'm dancing. I feel like I'm the highest level of his orus. Right? The day after Sukkot is called God's name. The Baal Shem Tov said the name after Sukkot is called God's name. That's the day is called God's name. I'm on such a high level that the whole essence is just HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But I come to Sukkot a couple days afterwards, and what's the first thing that happens? The misnagim come in. All these bad kochos come into the sukkah, and they say to Baal Shem Tov, Yisrael, his name was Yisrael. Yisrael Yid, your sukkah is not kosher. Your avodas Hashem isn't kosher. So what do you do then? You can either say, no, chaval, yishtach my sukkah. My sukkah is possible. I can't do my avodah anymore. That's one way. That's one way of just throwing away your entire Yom Kippur. What's the Baal Shem Tov? The Baal Shem Tov puts his head down and he's boning for 1 second, and he thinks about everything he just did for the Yom Kippur. He thinks about the Kohen Gadol. He thinks about the Yom Kippur. He thinks about the tshuva process. And what does he do? He opens his eyes and there's a petek saying, from those kochos haros, from those things that were coming and making kindness, they're saying, your sukkah is kosher. Because of what this mission, what the Gemara is telling us in Sukkah, that the HaShiloach is telling us. When you're able to just misbonim, you're able to think about it for 1 second, that your avodas Hashem was always filled with light, that your whole essence was constantly filled with the aura of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then those bad kochos run away. And it's the ultimate eitzah for after Yom Kippur. How do I stay in that light? Mitbonim, go to your sukkah, go to your place of bitachon, like Kahane was telling us. Go to your place of bitachon, get out of the intellectual world, get out of the concept of logic, that you did tshuva, and now, okay, so I did tshuva, but now the kochos are coming back, so I'm going to fail again. No! Get out, be somech on HaKadosh Baruch Hu, bitachon. Go into your sukkah, go into your armor, your castle, where HaKadosh Baruch Hu is covering it over. Mitbonim for 1 second, go back into your brain, go back to your neshama, open your eyes, and you're back into your sukkah with the Bas Melech. And it's the biggest thing, but then you continue in the story. What's this petek doing? What's it doing? Helping everyone else. Because when I'm able to realize that I'm always filled with that light, that roshem that it makes on me, that etching that it takes in my neshama, that has the ability to change everyone around me also. If someone's sick, touch them with that light of Yom Kippur and Sukkot. Touch them with the light of your Esther. You touch them with that light of your Lulav. And that's why Dafka on Sukkot, all the Amen would bring karbanos. We bring 70 paros on Sukkot in order to bring karbanos for all the nations of the world. Why? Because on Sukkot, I'm back to that koach where I can be an or. Because I'm filled with the true or. That's the teaching of Baal Shem Tov. That on Sukkot, we should to go back to that place, realize that the sukkah is full of those lights. We should sit in the sukkah as much as we possibly can, every single second, mamish, learning and just learning stories and singing, having some food, a little cracker, a little herring, whatever you want to be having in your sukkah. Mamish, just do it in the sukkah. And if you feel kochos raos coming, you're being fake, go out, go to bowling, go this with your friends. Kochos raos are coming, you close your eyes and you go back for 1 moment. That place of ultimate tshuva, that they all just disappear.